Ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wednesday, March the 7th, 2007. It's 5:34 in the evening. We call this meeting to order.
Motion to go into executive session, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to go into executive session at this time. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6:05. We're back from executive session. Victoria, could you lead us in prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together this evening as we join to lead our community in a just and gracious manner under your watchful eye. Let us thrive only on honesty, on honor, on faithful protection, and unselfish performance. Father, we pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Alito, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Item number 2, public audience. I don't think we have anyone signed up to speak at this time.
none.
So we'll move on to item 3, consider action on the following consent agenda items.
Could I interject, Ms. Seymour? I know that we didn't put the Port Director's report, and I was wondering if you have any information that you could provide us with.
I was going to get out of it. Sure, I'll make it because we've got a long agenda. Just wanted to report briefly on our trip to Washington, D.C. Myself and Commissioner De Los Santos and Chairman Arambula went to Washington. We went as a part of a Gulf Port Association contingent to just hit the hill on behalf of the entire Gulf Coast ports. But we separated and did quite a few meetings. We met with members Chet Edwards, John Corning, and, of course, Congressman Ortiz, with the members solely, and we all took to the Hill our story and what we needed as priorities, which was our operation and maintenance money for our channel, Dock 16, and the deepening and widening to continue to fund that program. We made several other visits to a couple of different committees, the transportation committees. We talked about the WERDA bill, which will actually appropriate and fund our channel deepening project. But all in all, we had a wonderful reception with the Corps of Engineers, all the way from the general all the way down to the budget staff. That was a very well-received meeting. And then we attended a waterways dinner that honored Senator Byrd for his dedication to the waterway community. So all in all, it was a great trip, and I think that we did a lot of good in getting our story out and just keep telling it so they don't forget us. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, the deadline for our port security grant was last night at midnight, and we did it with 32 minutes to spare, so we are applying for $4.8 million, so we should know probably within the next month, 6 weeks, how we did on that grant. The master plan segment that has to do with our lease survey and rate adjustments started on Monday. They met with B and Debbie and Hector, and the gentleman that's doing that, performing that study, should have that work completed in the next 2 weeks, and that'll come back to the board with some recommendations. I sent out some information. We've got a press conference coming up on March the 14th, and it's going to be held at the Harlingen Chamber of Commerce. And it's the maritime lawsuit abuse that I talked to you a little bit about in a couple of meetings with the dredging community, and they just wanted to get as many port people out as possible because that affects the ports directly. So I sent out some information to some of our different tenants, and the chairman is offered to speak at that press conference, so I invite any one of you that would like to attend, because the more that are there, the better it will be. We've set a date for the Public Affairs Luncheon for the Chamber of Commerce. That's going to be April the 26th, and the topic of that is going to be the state of our port. Dredging report, we are halfway done with the jetties. We've had some turtle situations that we've had to contend with. We've relocated 44 turtles, and we've had a turtle take which was a kill of 3. And so in the past, that would shut down our project. But last year, they redid the rules, and Randy was kind enough to research all that, and we're the poster child of those rules. We're seeing how they work because we're the first one that's had to go through this. But they sent it up to a committee to look at the turtle take, and they didn't stop the dredging operation. They elected to put another trawling unit on this dredge, and hopefully that'll work in relocating the turtles until we finish. And they say that job's probably going to take another 2 weeks, and the jetties will be restored to its original depth.
The project is actually taking a little bit longer than they forecasted, correct?
Well, the turtles. You know,
turtles.
I mean, the weather's been great. I mean, they had a couple of days of some pretty high winds, but all in all, they're pretty much on schedule.
Great.
But the turtle thing kind of slows them down. But that's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3, consider an action on the following consent agenda items. A, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 21st, 2007. B, approval to authorize payments over $25,000. Number 1, Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's a monthly premium for employee and dependent health insurance due March the 1st in the amount of $42,848.27. And number 2, Siemens Financial Services. That is a monthly lease rental payment for the mobile harbor crane, and that is in the amount of $28,564.75. C, approval of the following leases. Number 1, Cumberworth Investments, Inc., new lease. 2, Pedro Casares, new lease. 3, Rodicel, Inc., new lease. 4, South Central Coaches, Inc., release. 5, Firebird Bulk Carriers, Inc., amendment. 6, Bulk and Packaging Logistics, LLC, first refusal. 7, Landro, Inc., doing business as ST Marine, amendment. 8, Penmar Systems, Inc., new lease. 9, Seagarden Sales Company, Inc., release.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve these consent items with the exception of item C7, which will be the subject of a separate motion.
Okay.
I'll make a second.
We have a second on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Separate that.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
also to table item 3C, number 1. That item did not come back in time for the board meeting.
So we would need an amendment?
I'll accept that amendment to my motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve item 3 on the consent agenda, item 3C7, Landro, Inc., DBA ST Marine, by way of an amendment.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You abstain.
Which one is that? That's
Landro.
Landro, okay, I
3C7.
abstain.
You abstain from that?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Feliciano abstains from that. Motion carries.
Okay, boards, committees, and commission appointments. We have...
I think you need a separate motion to table C1.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to table. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, action items. Item number 4, consider an action on sending letters to state and federal law enforcement supporting criminal investigations.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir.
Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, I bring with me today an important message from 4 former chairmen of the Brownsville Navigation District, 1 former commissioner of the Brownsville Navigation District, and 2 former port directors, and I pass those out. And I think that we should follow the lead of these individuals in passing a motion that I will also make. These individuals have exercised their constitutionally protected First Amendment right to petition their government for redress of grievance, and they have signed a petition that reads as follows. To whom it may concern, we, the undersigned former chairman of the Brownsville Navigation District, respectfully urge the Cameron County District Attorney and any other state and federal law enforcement to do everything possible, including the convening of a grand jury, to determine whether or not crimes were committed with respect to the expenditure of over $21 million in taxpayer and bond monies on a non-existent bridge. This petition was signed by the following former chairman of the Brownsville Navigation District: Dr. Joseph Coulter, who served as a B&D commissioner from 1988 to 1996, 2 of those years as chairman. This petition was also signed by former Chairman Mario Villar, who served as chairman from 1996 to 1998. This petition was also signed by former Chairman Joe Gaiman, who served as chairman from 2002 to 2004, and it was also signed by me, who served as chairman from 2004 to 2006. In addition, former Commissioner Dan Reyna, who was a commissioner from 1996 to the year 2000, signed this petition, changing the name to commissioner instead of chairman. And also, former Port Director Jim Cruz, who served as general manager and port director from 1990 to 1997, and former Port Director Bernard List, who served as port director from 2005 to 2006, signed a very similar petition. I think that we should follow their lead, Mr. Chairman, and with that in mind, they have set the road before us. I make the following motion. I move that not later than Monday, March 12, 2007, the district mail, by certified mail, return receipt requested, letters signed by each commissioner and the interim port director and addressed to the Cameron County District Attorney, the Texas Rangers, the FBI, and the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Texas, which shall state as follows. Despite our settlement with Dannenbaum Engineering Corporation, the Brownsville Navigation District urges that all criminal investigations into the district's Port Bridge project continue as appropriate. Furthermore, the district, including its commissioners, reaffirm its full and complete cooperation in these investigations and shall willingly serve as a complainant in the event formal charges are brought.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Commissioner, can we have Mr. Renfro prepare that letter?
Sure.
And
certainly.
that it be signed by the chairman? We'll have the chairman sign it on behalf of the board?
That's, if you'd like, that's fine. I think it's important that all of us sign it. But if
I think I support what you're saying. If there's criminal wrongdoing, that it should be investigated and that criminal charges be pursued if there's such. And I'm showing my support, and I'm just asking that the chairman sign off, and on behalf of all of us.
On behalf of all of us voting unanimously,
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
I'll second.
One question I would ask is, it's my understanding, typically the state of Texas would be the complainant. I don't know procedurally how that would work, but the rest of the letter, I think, is fine.
Sure.
That's the only question I would have.
Well, why don't you research that?
Typically,
If they need us to be the named complainant.
Right,
Okay.
right. But with that possible exception, I can prepare that letter.
I know we got, I was just going to, well, I'm sorry, let's finish this motion. There was a first, I seconded.
Okay. Any more questions? Just a minute.
Be sure and send a copy of it to everybody, to all the other commissioners.
We have a motion on the table to accept that in the letter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry for speaking out of turn,
That's right,
Chairman. I just wanted to congratulate staff, the chairman, on the new agenda format.
Yes.
I think everybody needs to know that we changed our format, and I think it's going to be a little bit more
Easy going.
it's going to be a little bit easygoing, and people are going to be able to know exactly what's on the agenda and know when they can come and speak and save the public time to coming at our meetings. So congratulations and good job.
Congratulations.
Item number 5.
Next item.
Consideration and action on extending, modifying, or terminating contract of Public-Private Strategies, Inc. This contract is up for renewal. This is our lobbyist contract. The last meeting, we also had Glenn LeMunion's contract come up, and that was extended for a 2-year period of time. Mr. DeLay and Mr. LeMunion work hand in hand. Although Mr. DeLay does handle some of our state legislative work when it has to do with transportation issues, he works very closely with TxDOT. And so, based on that, I would recommend, Mr. DeLay's done an excellent job. He represents us well in D.C. He represents us well at the state level. So I would recommend that we go ahead and extend his contract for the 2-year period of time as we did Mr. LeMunion's.
Donna, are you continuing to recommend that we don't have a 30-day bailout?
No, sir. His contract does have. It does
Did he
have.
put it in there?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It does.
So moved.
And Glenn's does as well. So if we
decide to opt out, we can give him 30 days notice. Well, that's
Yes, sir.
good. I'm glad to hear
Yes, sir.
that.
And I'll make
And
sure.
the rationale for moving it from 1 year to 2 years?
Randy used to, in the past, he always had a 2-year contract. You know, especially dealing with the state, they're only in session every other year, but he continues to keep working, and he does a lot of the issues with the state level. Our overweight permit, he helps us with that, and then also the money that we're getting to redo our roads here came through FHWA through TxDOT. So I mean, that's kind of a continuing basis. Even though they're only in session every other year, it makes a difference.
So we're tasking him with lobbying state and federal?
And federal.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. LeMunyon is only federal?
Mr. LeMunyon is only federal, yes. But Randy's always handled our transportation stuff here locally.
I'll go ahead and second the motion, but I also have I would like to do some research with the overweight corridor of what we get. I want to see if we can actually get some of that money, based on the fact that that's one of his major tasks, is making sure that the overweight corridor it's so beneficial to us. I want to make sure that maybe we can use that money to pay his fees, because we can only spend that money in administrative. And I want to know or research if that would be considered administrative, where it would offset some of our expense for the port.
Mr. Delay's fee?
Yes. I don't know if it does or it doesn't.
That's strictly for administrative. I would be very surprised. Yeah, that'd be kind of pushing it.
Your share of
the
lobbying activity.
Yeah.
Donna, I don't think I've seen I'm sorry, it is here. Does it cover the full scope of his services so that we're not paying extra, for example, if we need him to lobby for the overweight permit extension?
Yes,
It's included in there.
He bills us just on a flat basis.
He used to menu price it.
Yes, he did.
If you wanted a baked potato, it was extra.
Yeah, he did. But no, he does everything for the same price.
And it was a big baked potato.
He does everything.
I'm glad to hear.
It's all inclusive now.
It's like more than
All
just Chicago.
inclusive, yes, that's right.
Well, I'm happy to hear that we've got that 30-day bailout back in.
Yeah.
We didn't have it before. So I'm happy to hear that, and I'll certainly join the motion.
We have a motion on the table to accept item number 5 by Commissioner De Los Santos, seconded by Commissioner Cristiano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item number 6, consider an action to adopt the district's operating budget for fiscal year 2008. Okay.
I make a motion that we approve, subject to the return to the organizational chart of Division 3 PE3 Director of Real Estate Development and Division 10 PE3 Director of Governmental Affairs, and that those positions be funded at the 2006 levels.
I have actually put them back in. There's a summary there showing the impact. It's approximate.
Talk about being on top of things. Good job, Debbie. Very good.
Just the revised organizational chart.
There's a lot of revisions I'll be going to the
The entire document. There'll be a lot of changes there.
We have a motion on the table for item number 6 by Commissioner Zavaleta, seconded by Commissioner Masso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 7, consider an action on memorandum of understanding agreement between the Brownsville Navigation District and the Rio Grande Valley Regional Security Cooperative. And actually, this is a ratification. This was part of our security grant, and I've attached it. It's on page 26. And I've spoken with y'all briefly and sent an email out. We actually formed a cooperative with some of our tenants, and the list is in here. It's with the police departments of Brownsville and Port Isabel. It's got the Port of Port Isabel, the Port of Harlingen, Sitco, Transmontane, RTW, Sheriff's Department, AmFELS, VRG, Public Utilities Board. And what we did is we all got together and formed this cooperative. As far as the law enforcement agencies, this will they'll become on the level of our first responder. In our security grant, we've asked for a communication system that would tie all of us together. So if, say, AmFELS had an emergency, they could call us, and our radio system would alert all the first responders, and that doesn't exist. And very few, as I understand, in Texas have that. It's a digital system, and so we've asked in our security grant
We'll be the first
to implement this. And basically, there are a few people in here that asked for some separate funding under the security grant, and we wrote in the contract that they would be responsible for their 25% of the matching funds. This committee will be in existence, and it'll actually meet in conjunction with our Maritime Security Committee that is already in existence, and it's just going to help us spread out the security so it's not only us watching, it's all of these other people watching, and we're trying to do tiered and leveled securities to help, everybody be aware that we need to be watching for something. And I apologize that this wasn't on the agenda last month, and it's a ratification, but we had to submit this last night with the grant, and so Chairman Arambula already signed it, so if you would just ratify that.
I'll make the motion to ratify. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to ratify item number 8 by Commissioner Mas, seconded by Commissioner De Los Santos. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8, consider an action on assignments, negotiations, easements, subleases, and contracts in general. Item A, Jesus Mahad, doing business as Eagle Ready Mix Concrete, authority to negotiate.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Mahawak is requesting to increase the premises. They're located in this area, and we'd like another 50 feet of street frontage, so I'm asking the board to give me authority to negotiate.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, Felipe Mendez, doing business as International Machine Shop, authority to negotiate.
Mr. Mendez is also requesting to lease the vacant lot just adjacent or next to his present site at the fishing harbor, and I'm asking the board to give me authority to negotiate. In addition, also he's asking to change the name to Celglo Inc. from Felipe Mendez, doing business as International Machine Shop.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Can I just thought of something right now. Can we go back to item number 4, if you would? In connection with the letter that you're going to prepare, Mr. Renfro, can we also have a motion that because the signatories said that these petitions can be used for any purpose. Can we attach these petitions that these former chairmen, former port directors, and former commissioners signed to the letter, and to the letter that you're going to prepare for your signature, and also a copy of the actual motion that we pass unanimously? Can we just attach that to your letter?
I don't have any problem with including these. Typically, we never circulate minutes until they're approved. Once the minutes are approved, then certainly those could be then provided to the addressee of those letters.
Well, as long as your letter is as long as the language of your letter is going to make clear the motion that was passed unanimously.
Very well.
And then we can just attach these petitions to the letter as well. If I just offer that as an additional amendment to the agenda item.
Do we have to go back and amend that and re-vote on that?
No, that is a separate motion.
Okay.
I would say that the petitions be included and that the letter describe the action that was taken.
That it was passed unanimously.
Right.
So we need a motion for that right now.
Yes, I made that motion. That we attach the petition.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
carries. Yes, sir.
Item number 9, possible action on matters or items discussed in executive session. There are none. Item 10, receive presentation from American Investigation and Security on the unarmed security service at the Port of Brownsville Fishing Harbor. Mr. Flores?
Thank you very much. Honorable Chairman, members of the board, my name is Dan Flores, and Sophia, can you please, I'm going to pick out a packet on my presentation tonight concerning the services that we render at the fishing harbor.
Thank you.
I'm going to go through this packet as quickly as I can because of time constraints. The first two letters, or the first two pages you have is what I already submitted on my package when this project was opened up for bids, okay? But it pretty much outlines what my company has done for the fishing harbor for the last 12 years. We've been very successful. It outlines to you that we've had no major losses, no injuries to report, okay? It also clearly demonstrates to you in our package that we are the leader in the security profession. My company's been in business now for approximately 17 years. Former law enforcement officer of 19, so got quite a bit of experience in running the firm. Currently, I am the Vice President for the State Association involving the security profession. I sit also as Treasurer for the Brownsville Crime Stoppers Program, and I'm a member of the Propeller Club. Very proud member of that particular club. Because of the work that you all have allowed me the last 12 years to do for you, I've been able to manage my firm and progress. We are the largest locally owned firm in South Texas. We built a facility here in Brownsville. We chose Brownsville because Brownsville was good to put it on Arlington, put it on McAllen. I do quite a bit of Fortune 500 companies, but this is home for me, and this is where I want to be. In my previous meetings with the leasing committee, I thank all the leasing members that were here that day for allowing me to serve because it's been a good contract for us. Now, to address the issues involving the actual determination of the leases is why I'm here tonight, okay? When we open up the specs for services, obviously I am the low bidder by approximately $3,000. We looked at this, my staff and I went back and researched and looked at the determined contract. The package calls for a superior but economical proposal. It's in the package. And that's exactly what we provided to Port Browns. Okay. We're looking to determine the contract. We're looking at 2 years with 1 year extension with a possibility of 3 1-year extensions. So we're looking at about a 6-year contract here to be awarded. When I look at that, I look at the numbers, I look at the rates, and we're looking at about $18,000 increase to the fishing harbor folks out there if you elect not to take on the firm. We have not raised our rates since 1997. Been able to manage my company fairly well and still be able to provide to the fishing harbor good service. After I met with the committee, I went back and I also visited the District Association last week because there was some concern shared to me that maybe there were some complaints out there that had been filed or maybe there were some security concerns. But so I went to the people at the fishing harbor. I took it directly to them, tell me what are we doing that's not appropriate. I have no complaints. I have nothing in writing from anyone. On the contrary, what I did is the next 16 pages that you have in my packet are the reports that I should have submitted to you between 2005 and 2006. So the boxes that you see back there are reports that we take every day at the fishing harbor. I used to come to this commission and report to you quarterly, but for whatever reason, I'm not on the agenda, so I don't report. Now, why I have not brought this report before anyone? Well, that's a matter of contractual agreement between me and the port and the lessees. I have a contractual agreement that says I need to keep everything confidential, and I've done that. It's here today. It's for your review. You want to look at it. I've got the boxes there for every day we've been on duty. My staff and I continue to do this whether anybody asks me for the reports or not. So I needed to share this with you, okay? Because it's just like we show up there for work and we don't write anything down. We have reports for every day, 365 days. And you're more than welcome to the boxes now that I brought it. Okay. What we've done also, or what I did also, because again, of my involvement in law enforcement, I wanted to make sure that I had additional information to back up the reports that we have, and I provided you a copy of the Sheriff's Office. The report from the Sheriff's Office, which indicates to you folks that there was only 7 incidents reported to them back in 2006, which again relates that we're doing a very decent job there. Okay. Every law enforcement agency is required to file what is called a uniform crime report to the Department of Public Safety and the FBI for stat purposes. And I'm very much aware of that. That's why I did this. I wanted to know if actually there was other things out there happening that I was not aware of. This report clearly reflects that there's 7 incidents. in 12 months, you know, so that's a good indicator that the place is very safe. The next to the last page I have is some of the concerns that we share with you was that our patrol vehicle was pretty much depleted and needed to be replaced, and I have to agree with that. You have a picture there of the vehicle that's now sitting at the Fishing Harbor 2007 Chevrolet Colorado, fully marked unit, prepared to go with anything that we need to do. We respond as soon as we're made aware if there's an issue with a problem, okay? But I think most important, as I'm getting ready here to conclude my presentation with you, is you need to consider the rate. It's an $18,000 rate for the leasing, okay, in the term of this contract, $18,000. You need to look at it that we're a very safe firm, no liability claims, no losses, okay? We replace our equipment. Now, if we are awarded this contract, I will develop a new protocol to communicate closely with your police department that you now have in place, okay, so we can work together. The security profession since 9/11 has taken a different completely route, and with you know, Elise's permission and your permission, we can do so many other things different. I'm aware y'all have cameras now. I can be your camera for my facility to provide you, again, the adequate security that you need. I'm open up to any questions you might have.
Commissioners, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, just an observation, and my memory may fail me, and I'll ask Commissioner Cristiano to correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember, I think, at the very first commissioner meeting that we had as new commissioners, Commissioner Cristiano, we had this gentleman come in and give a report, and we haven't seen him since. Does that sound right, Donna?
Mm-hmm. I can remember a couple of reports, but that's...
I think I can remember two reports.
Yeah,
Maybe two? I can remember two reports.
And that's unfortunate, Mr. Flores, because we're not able to know the work that you're doing, which you're not communicating with us. And so I understand the security aspect. Obviously, we can take you into executive session if you need to. As far as getting on the agenda, when I was chairman from 04 to 05, all you had to do is just call me. We put you on the agenda. So I think it's unfortunate that we were not kept apprised regularly by the security company. So I'll leave it at that.
Any more questions, concerns, gentlemen?
Thank you,
Mr. Flores.
Item number 11, consider an act to award the bid for unarmed security service at the Port of Brownsville Fishing Harbor.
We did open this bid on February 20th. We met with the committee that we had formed at that time. We've met again this week. The committee is still recommending that this bid be awarded to American Surveillance.
Tell me how this committee was formed, Debbie.
We invited, back in November, I believe, we sent a letter to all of the lessees at the Fishing Harbor to invite them to a meeting to form the committee. We had a committee that was very active when I first started working here, and then eventually everyone had dropped off the committee, and we were down to, I think, Mr. Harris was saying, was the last remaining member of that committee. And we felt we needed to have input from more than just one individual at the Fishing Harbor. We did have an open invitation to all of our lessees. We believe it was 19 of our lessees responded to that meeting. George and I were there at that meeting, and we asked volunteers to serve on the committee.
How many volunteered?
So they all volunteered?
They were volunteers.
Okay. First of all, at the organizational meeting of 19, was AISI invited to that meeting?
No.
Were you apprised of that?
No, I wasn't.
Why not?
It was an organizational meeting for our committee to supervise the actions of the security committee that's out there.
Okay, so then 6 people signed up from that 19?
Yes.
And were those meetings held at regular times, or how were people notified of those meetings?
They held one meeting when we opened the bid. We had appraised everyone when the bids were going to be opened. Then we had another meeting for this week. We did not invite everyone. We did invite every lessee to be here at this meeting tonight.
Can I just say something? Debbie, now you had prior discussions with everybody because we were changing the bid specifications. Because because we wanted to write these that security is provided for our tenants, and we wanted to make sure that the tenants had that opportunity to look at the bid specifications and see if that's actually what they wanted or if they wanted anything at all. They pay for it, so we wanted to make sure that they were getting what they wanted and what they were paying for.
Okay, and the 6 people that volunteered, were they representative members of, were they a cross-section of the shrimp?
Can you tell us some of the members of that committee, please?
Carlton Reyes is one of the members.
He's with the Shrimp Basin, isn't he? He's a president of...
They're all shrimp basin.
Well, he's the president of the... Carlton is the...
Okay.
The president of the shrimp.
Wait a minute. I was not never put on that committee, and I was at this meeting, and Jeff Duke recommended me to be put on that meeting, and I never received that he even had a meeting. We even had a meeting here yesterday, and nobody told me about the meeting, and I talked to Debbie Dooley. So it must have been a secret meeting because she did tell, I asked her. So whatever, there was people but on that committee. I was not informed.
Mr.
At the meeting yesterday, you were informed because you told me, we talked about it.
No, you didn't tell me about the meeting, somebody else told me.
I know, but you asked me if we were having a meeting.
It was a volunteer basis, and Mr. Lassane was at the meeting. It was to volunteer. We asked for volunteers.
But basically what the meeting was for was not, it started off, the meeting, they wanted to...
Stand up, Mr. Gavito, please. Yes. Thank you.
The reason that they wanted to have the meeting was they want to make some changes at the shrimp basin. They want to close the gates at 7 o'clock. They don't want any drinking. They want to change and kind of do what we do over here. That's what the meeting started off about. Since Joe Gaiman has been chairman, he wanted us to take over the security over there. Every time he asked me to look into it, I told him, it's going to cost more if I take it over with police officers. We talked about it. He wanted us to take over the security. But when we had the meeting, that we decided we're going to have a meeting because since we had the meeting here for the lessees, when they came in that we were going to raise the rent, one of the things they said, they complained about was, that they wanted to change a lot of the things that were going out there with security and all that stuff and everything. So that's the reason we had the meeting to begin with. And when we showed up, there was 19 people here, and from the 19 people, they chose 5 or 6. We couldn't choose all 19 to be on and when it got to the point, that was it. There was 19 of people here from the
How many times did that group of 6 meet?
To my knowledge, they met twice here, and I don't know if they have met.
I think it was 3 times. Because it was the first one when we had the meeting.
Well, that's true. We had a meeting where we all.
And then when we opened the bids, okay, and then they came and gave a presentation to the.
That was the day that the bids were open. Yes.
But later on that afternoon.
That's correct.
Okay, so that was another meeting. They had another meeting where they had a chance to come give a presentation, and they all came in. I think we had that one in the afternoon.
You're talking about the bidders had a chance to give a presentation?
The bidders all came in. All bidders? All bidders. And they were all here. And I think just about 3 or 4 decided, they gave a presentation, and the other ones decided they were just too far.
Was that meeting where the bidders were able to present, was that before the opening of the bid or after?
After.
Thank you, Mr. Gavito. Ms. Flores, please rise, sir.
On that particular day that we opened up the bids and we met with the committee, we were given only 3 minutes to make a presentation. All 6 bidders here, which I felt was inappropriate, because I'm not going to talk about my company and tell the committee, what I'm doing, so my competition can find out exactly what's going on. The decision was made to award the contract within 25 minutes after we all stepped outside. How are you going to compare apples with apples when I'm giving you about a 100-page document review about my company? Look at our numbers and look at our references. No references were checked. You folks asked for a lot of things from that package. You were very specific. Provide me documentation on other government entities. Provide me documentation of the staff that's going to staff that facility. You asked quite a bit. And I can assure you in 25 minutes, you couldn't have gone through one package, much less make a sound decision. want to share that with you.
The problem that I have with that, Mr. Flores, is that you must understand, as a governmental entity, we have to conduct our business in the open, and that's just number one. Number two,
part of the nature.
I'm inclined to give great deference to a committee of the shrimp basin as long as it's fair, as long as they're representative, as long as their meetings are not being held in secret. I'm inclined to give their recommendations great deference because they're actually the owners of the service. We're paying for it, but they're the ones that are the beneficiaries of that. And I think that you and everyone else had an opportunity to make your case to those decision makers.
Yes.
Well, they're actually paying for it.
Yeah.
Well, they're paying for it. That's true.
They're paying.
They are paying for it. They're paying us, but they're paying for it.
Right.
Yes.
So they're actually the consumer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Since we pay for it, how come do we have to report to the port? Don't the guard report to us?
We actually have been talking about that, Mr. Lassane.
They do.
Actually, completely just privatizing it altogether.
Well, the contract is very specific that they are to report to the committee.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't hear both of them.
The contract is very specific that the reporting is to the committee.
The
committee
contract,
has not been meeting, so
Right.
he couldn't report to that. That's when I think he started coming to report to the board. But the contract is real specific.
And how often are they supposed to report to the quarterly?
The contract was every time there was an incident. We have scaled that back to once a quarter, and a quarterly meeting.
And the new bid?
The new bid says once a quarter. With the committee.
to this board.
No, to the
committee.
The committee.
And how about to the commissioners? There's nothing in there? It's not mandatory.
No, it wasn't part of the original contract.
We have plenty of meetings at our association. No report has ever been filed about the guard on any meeting. This committee that was formed right here, I wasn't even aware of the committee. Didn't even know who served in the committee. When I asked about a meeting that was being held yesterday, I was not informed by none of the employees at the port that there was a meeting here yesterday.
You would have served had you known?
Yes, sir, I was going to serve. And as far as I'm concerned, y'all can do whatever y'all want to. But let's be fair on the way it's going to be done. And I heard her say that the president of our association was part of this meeting. He never reported to us that he wasn't speaking for our association, let's say it that way. If he was on a committee, he was on a committee on his own.
Well, I mean, that's a different issue though, because if he's your president of your organization and you don't like how he's reporting back to y'all need to change your president. But that's a different problem.
He is on a committee as a lessee.
He's
as a
different committee,
not as
two different
representative.
But she did mention that he was our president.
And that was very, very much his background.
Okay.
We do have supervisors from Landros, Barry Chambers, Richard Moore.
On the committee?
David A. Moore. We feel like we've got a very good cross-section of the shrimpers and the new industry people.
And these were the 19 people that originally met, and they themselves chose the leaders.
They actually last year.
One thing I want to add about the Sheriff's office does not respond to calls to the port police.
Okay.
We file all our reports, and we're the ones that patrol out there, along with security company, and we have had many arrests in the last year, especially in 2006 when you all asked me to patrol twice out there. Now we patrol twice during the day and twice at night, and just for drunk and narcotics and some burglaries we've had out there, and we've recovered some stolen merchandise. But the sheriff's office is the one. When the calls that are there, I mean, the port police are the ones. The calls that are there from the sheriff's office is when we call them to assist us. They'll also do a report and file it in their.
Mr. Evito, you are a part of the committee, right?
No.
You are not part of the committee.
Well, but you interact with,
Yes,
Debbie and,
yes.
they both,
George and I and Dee will be attending those meetings, mainly just to be hearing what the issues are.
Well, my concern is, since you're in charge of security for the port, and the contract calls for the security agency to report whatever it is, monthly, quarterly, that we know what's going on over there as far as security is concerned.
I agree
We do intend to
wholeheartedly
attend
with
those
that.
meetings, but we are not a part of the voting committee. We do intend to attend them.
Well, that's, yeah.
What the committee wants to do is wherever you all choose tonight, is they're going to be reporting to us. They don't want to be called in the middle of the night, this happened and this happened. They want us to report to us, at the harbor master's office, at the police department, when something happens.
On individual items, if something happens out there.
Well, why are we deleting the requirement of quarterly reports to the board?
It was never a requirement. It wasn't a requirement.
But I thought you acknowledged, Mr. Flores, that you were not doing that, as you should have been doing.
No, what I said was, I was taken off the agenda to come, okay? I was asked to report to you folks quarterly.
That was my understanding.
And nobody took you off the agenda. I mean, as Mr. Zavaleta said, when people want to be on the agenda, you come and request to be on the agenda. We have never taken anyone off the agenda.
The reason we were on the agenda was that Cindy was saying request. And she would request that he be on the agenda, we would place him on the agenda.
But when I took office in May of 2004, I thought you had said, in that one time that I remembered you here, that you would be giving quarterly reports.
Yes.
And I welcomed that, because
And I've been prepared since, but you folks never had me agenda, so I didn't do the report. Okay.
Well, I still think that we should have quarterly reports from a security company that is on our premises.
We can. I mean, we just didn't put that as part of the bid packet because it wasn't part of the old one. It wasn't a requirement in there, but we can certainly do that.
I think there's definitely a big lack of communication here, and we seem to be left out in the loop here as well. And I feel that hopefully, the committee, when they meet with you, Mr. Gavito and Donna Emart and B, if you can, as a courtesy, advise us or you're on the port director's report, just to keep us abreast of anything that's going on either for that quarter, and make that something continual where it's consistent.
That'd be fine.
And I think that we can address, if there's any problems at that time, we can address them right there and then, instead of, waiting till the contract is up, and we can take them as they're coming.
Sure.
That's their intent.
And what is the committee's recommendation with respect to this item?
That the second low bidder, American Surveillance, will be awarded.
Are they here today? Would you like to address this?
Sure.
Good evening. My name is Priscilla Saldana. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know why I've done this numerous times, not here though. I am the representative of American Surveillance. We are a security company that was established in June of 1999. We are locally owned. We are a first-class security service. We have contracts throughout the valley. We did have an opportunity to meet with the leasees, and we did a presentation with them. And fortunately enough, they did recommend American Surveillance for the security contract here at the Port of Brownsville. We did submit a packet that was requested from the Port of Brownsville with our insurance references, our company history. Everything was included in the package. American Surveillance Incorporated is a professional investigative and security services, again, as I mentioned before, founded in June of 1999. The company currently does security services throughout the Rio Grande Valley. Our company is composed of a team of individuals with years of service in the fields of security and investigation. American Surveillance has a qualified personnel, the financial capability, the experience, and the winning attitude to provide services at the Port of Brownsville. It is our company policy to visit with our clients on a regular basis and discuss any issues or concerns regarding our services. American Surveillance Company pledges to be available 24 hours, 7 days a week. American Surveillance Services locations will receive an immediate response, providing the highest quality of service. We have, all our security officers are equipped with radios and cell phones, so we are able to respond immediately in the event of an emergency. Okay, I drove a Dodge Charger that we currently have. It's a brand new vehicle. If in the event that we do get this contract, it's parked outside. Unfortunately, I didn't bring a picture with me, but it's a really nice, fully marked vehicle that we'd be able to provide. All of our employees have completed the level 1 and 2 training course. This is a course that's mandated by the state. Okay, our security officers are required to attend training classes that includes but not limited to general security, safety, documentation, report writing, personal communication, and general patrolling. All our officers carry a non-commissioned card that's required by the state of Texas, along with a photo ID that I'm wearing right now. I am not a security officer. I'm a marketing representative for American Surveillance. That's basically what we're about. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the packet, but we did turn it in to you, and you do have our packet.
Do you, Priscilla, does your company do random drug screens on your security guards?
Yes, sir. We do random drug testing and criminal background searches.
Okay. Before they're hired. And then do you continue to do random drug tests?
Yes, sir, we do, periodically.
Okay. Chief Gavito, are you in agreement with the committee's recommendation to award this bid to American Surveillance Company?
Yes, I am.
Also move.
Gentlemen, any questions on that before we move on to the next topic?
Since it's paid by them. Second.
Okay, we have a motion, item 11 by Commissioner Zavaleta, seconded by Commissioner De Los Santos. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12.
I just before we go to 12, I just have a real problem though that they're the ones paying for it and we're the ones making the final decision. I just see that as a total conflict there. They're the ones paying for it. They need to figure out how they're going to do it, and I would like to do some research.
I think legal counsel can find us an easier solution.
Yeah.
If the contract were with them, with the lessee committee, then you would be out of it.
I would much rather do something like that.
Is the committee unanimous in recommending this company?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's where I'm going with, Commissioner.
Yes, I mean, it doesn't sound right. I mean,
But I think in the future, I think we could look at something different to do.
Well, the answer is to expand our police force.
Yeah.
And stop treating the fishing harbor like second-class citizens, and they treat them just like everybody else. That's the answer. And we've been trying to do that for years. We just don't have any money.
Don't have any money.
Excuse me?
I said that's right. That's the reason.
The finances.
It's very expensive.
There's no reason that there's no reason that they should be relegated to a private security company as opposed to our commissioned peace officers.
Okay, next item, please.
Okay. Item number 12, consider an action to amend contract number 3527, Task 2 with HDR Engineering Shiner Mosley on the Port Deepening Feasibility Study Project.
Chairman, from the board, good afternoon. We've been working with HDR Shiner Mosley since February of last year on providing professional engineering services on the Port Deepening study. Task number 2, which is before you, was for a total of $35,000, and that was to cover the period from October to December of last year. As of the end of this January 31st, there's still a balance of $25,739. At this time, I'm requesting only a time extension to the contract to utilize the remaining funds for the project until June 30th.
June 30th. Hector, they're on schedule with this project, you said?
Yes, sir. We are working on several tasks. This specific task number 2 for helping us with administration and our monthly meetings that we have with the court, and then overviewing all the different phases of the project.
So moved. Second that.
Just a second. Hector, is this going to hurt us in any way? Why am I thinking that there's something lurking behind here? Is this going to hurt us in any way? No?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
There's a little summary at the very end which shows basically
Excuse me?
there's a little table that shows the invoices that have the expenses that have been incurred to date.
So the rationale for the extension is what now?
I guess you can say that they have effectively been able to manage the project a lot better. And we're on a time and material basis rather than on a contract. I've met with Mr. Jeff Massengill with HDR regarding some of the prior work under Task 1. There were some readjustments to the personnel and management that were able to utilize more resources located in Houston to help us out with the Galveston project and some of the local personnel. They had a far new resources, specifically Mr. Neil McClellan, who's a new employee to HDR, who came from the Corps, in fact. He was a project manager with the Corps. So he's the one who's now spearheading this project.
So how will this benefit the port? How will this extension benefit the port?
They are assisting us in ensuring that the different tasks being developed under the project management plan are in general accordance with industry standards, and to make sure that we are heading basically in the right way, that we're not overutilizing or conducting studies that may not be necessary.
I see.
For example, under the hydraulic modern and salinity models, the Corps has proposed to do like 5 or 6 different models. We've been able to work with their expertise in delineating some of the scope of work and basically eliminate some that we don't think are necessary. For example, one is our channel basically has no flow beyond the junction of the GRWW with the jetty channel. So a lot of the other hydraulic models conducted in other ports, like Mississippi, for example, they have to go into very detailed studies regarding the flows, and so they've been able to work with that with us, basically giving us money in other words.
I was about to say, this extension would help improve efficiency. It could have helped improve efficiency.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you're not really asking for any new money.
No.
You're just asking for an extension of what we've already...
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it is the same schedule of rates that is
And ultimately, do you work hand in hand with the Corps of Engineers with some of these results on the study that you're
Oh, yes, sir.
coming up with?
I have been attending the meetings. Right now, we're in the process of going full steam. The first step was to go over the public scoping meeting to make it open and get everybody's comments on the project. The next step that we're working on is the evaluation of a matrix of all alternatives. We're going to narrow down to 3 alternatives. One, we have selected those 3 alternatives. Then the real work regarding the geotechnical, the engineering, the environmental, the economics, focusing on those 3 alternatives will begin. And so we are about a month away from that.
Okay. Good deal. Any questions? So moved. Okay.